Good morning. The Louisiana Committee on Parole is impaneled here in Baton Rouge at headquarters. Serving on our panel today, to my left is Chuck Tillis, to my right is Cheryl Knotts, and my name is Jerry Ledoux. We're at the Louisiana State Penitentiary. Sir, would you please state your name and your DOC number for the record?
Jeffrey Dale Hilburn, 319221.
Okay. Mr. Hilburn, I'm going to read some information into the record. You're a first felony offender, currently serving a second-degree murder charge, in which your life sentence was commuted down to 99 years with parole eligibility after 35. You have a good time date of 12/17/2039, full-term date of 2090. Does that sound correct to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We have some individuals that are in support of you today and wish to speak, and then we also have some opposition. We'll start with your support system in a minute, but first of all, I'd like to ask you, would you tell this panel why you're currently incarcerated and why this panel should consider early release?
Incarcerated because I committed second-degree murder and was convicted of it. I am hopeful that the way I've lived my life here can earn me the mercy of forgiveness. I try every day to do something to help people. It's not that I get up and I try to become involved in other people's business. I just try to help people. The jobs I've been fortunate enough to hold, I've tried to focus on education and helping rehabilitate other people as much as I could. It's similar to some of what I did before I got locked up, but I try to make an effort to help people. I'm not sure if I'm always successful, but I make the effort.
Mr. Hilburn, we're going to allow those in support of you to speak first. We're going to start with your sister, Rachel Hilburn Graves, who's joining us via Zoom. And so, Ms. Graves, Bill?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
My name is Rachel Hilburn Graves, sister to Jeffrey Dale Hilburn. I am the youngest of the 6 children born to Carl and Ethel, and Dale is the youngest son. My brothers and I are asking for Dale's release, a dream that our parents and we have had for many years. Dale, as we call him, would be living with my husband John and I if he is released. John is disabled and is willing to transport Dale anywhere he needs to be until he acquires his own transportation. We have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home and are empty nesters. We also have 2 job opportunities for him, working with a Christian band as a PR for Taverns to Tabernacles and as a mechanic position with my daughter and her husband's business, Goliath Automotive. This is to help him until he can find another job of his own that might fit his needs, which I also have an opportunity for him in a social media platform that correlates with his speaking and writing skills. Having lost a son in a vehicle accident, which also took the life of another man, I understand some of what my parents felt. In saying that, our parents were devastated in knowing that Dale was involved in Mark's murder. I knew Mark. Mark sat behind me in class. He played with my hair. We went to high school together. We worked together at Walmart. I worked in the pharmacy. He worked in the paper goods department. I had met his mother through my job. We communicated well before that. After that, it was very strained until one day she asked me to come outside and sit with her in some chairs. We talked about Dale and Mark, about our lives. She told me that she wanted to offer him forgiveness, and she started writing him. Our relationship, we were born on the same day, just 10 years apart. So we would communicate about birthdays and things like that. And she expressed to me that she would do anything that she could if Dale was ever offered the opportunity. He does have a letter from her stating that. In saying that, she passed away, and that was a big loss to me because she and I had become very good friends. I also knew her daughter, Tiffany, who would come to the pharmacies that I worked at and would, come visit, say hi, told me I was her Rachel. And until about 9 months ago, before the last hearing, I had called her to ask her if she would speak on Dale's behalf. Before I could get it out of my mouth, and I told her who I was when I called, she says, "I'm sorry, Rachel, I cannot talk to you." And I told her I understood, and I bid her goodbye. I figured at that point, there was some conversations held otherwise. But I had spoken with her for almost 20 years. In letters to Dale and conversations with myself, like I said, Miss Doris had expressed her sympathy for my mother and her desire to help Dale if that occurred. Dale has achieved many accomplishments in Angola and has learned more about who he wants to be, not the boy he was when he entered those gates. Utilizing his strengths, he was a member of the Toastmaster Club, worked in the library, worked with research for inmate cases for those who were less knowledgeable, crafted in the hobby shop, became a photographer, writer, and now editor of the Angolite magazine. But most importantly, I feel that his most important job is overseeing Point Lookout. If he is released, I'm sorry?
We have a lot of that information in our record if you want to consolidate.
Okay. Dale gave up custody of his daughter so that she would not grow up with the stigma of having her father in prison. He has missed out on watching his daughter grow up and her 3 children, his grandchildren. The loss of our parents. And then he was also granted a pardon by Governor Bell Edwards, which we had hoped he would come home. By saying that, we understand, Governor Landry had his own ideas of what he wanted to do, and he wanted to make sure that who was released out under his watch was also in his considerations. Many of our friends are following this channel in hopes that he is released, and we appreciate any of the choices that you make and know it's God's will. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. We also have Ms. Lucas, a friend. Ms. Lucas, if you can keep your comments to about 3 minutes, we have quite a few people to hear from. Thank you.
Thank you kindly. I'm honored for the chance to speak. My name is Dr. Ashley Lucas. I'm a professor at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, and I'm speaking to you from there today, though I wish I could be there in person to show the seriousness of my support for Jeffrey Dale Hilburn. I've known him for 20 years now. In 2004, I was a graduate student in theater at the University of California in San Diego, and I wrote to the editors of The Angolite saying, would you please write to me about what you understand about people's families being in prison. My father was incarcerated, and I was writing a play and doing research on families of incarcerated people. Carrie Myers, who's also present on this call, was on the Angolite staff at that time, and Dale Hilburn as well. And they both wrote to me, along with a couple of other people, about what had happened to their families. And it was the first time, as somebody with an incarcerated father, that I'd really had the chance to interact with other people who were in prison, who understood what it was like from the other side of the walls. And these men mentored me and, in a sense, helped to raise me as a person who does prison work and takes prison work seriously. Now, 20 years later, I have been the director of the Prison Creative Arts Project, the largest prison arts organization in the world here at the University of Michigan, and I teach classes that send students into prisons to do arts workshops. I say all of that to let you know that I have now interacted with, worked closely with thousands of incarcerated men and women, and I know no one more eligible to be successful on parole than Jeffrey Dale Hilburn. He has incredible work experience, excellent public speaking ability. We would be honored to have him come and speak on the University of Michigan campus as part of the activities surrounding our annual exhibition of art by Michigan prisoners. Upon his release, Carrie Myers did this after he was released, and it would be a logical step to have Jeffrey Dale come to speak to us as well. And he would visit my classes and help to teach my students what it means to do good work that helps other people in prison. Dale is in a unique position as editor of The Angolite, not just to understand his own journey through prison, but to have done many years of reporting on what happens to other people in prison. So he has not only the personal life experience, but the macro understanding of how other people have navigated this difficult life circumstance and become successful. He is a model for rehabilitation. He is kind, he is generous, he is intelligent, hardworking, and thoughtful. And he has a huge community of support out here, including a lot of people who read The Angolite who may never have had the chance, the honor of meeting him in person as I have. So I urge you to please send him home. If something ever happened to his family, he would be very welcome to live in my house here in Michigan if his parole would be transferred, though I hope nothing ever happens to his blessed family, and I know they are very, very eager to receive him in Louisiana. He will do a lot more good in the free world than he's been able to do inside Angola, and that's stating quite a lot because I believe he's helped a huge number of people through his work at Point Lookout, through the Long-Termers Association, and at the Angelite. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for joining us. We also have Mr. Kerry Myers with the Parole Project who would like to speak. Mr. Myers?
Thank you, Ms. Ledoux, and good morning, members of the panel. Kerry Myers with the Louisiana Parole Project here on behalf of Jeffrey Dale Hilburn. This case is, as you probably have already heard, a little personal to me. I brought Jeffrey into the Angelite more than probably 20 plus years ago for several reasons. Not only did I know, I believe in his ability to do the work. One of the most important things to me at that point was, would Jeffrey do the right thing in a job that had intense scrutiny and was very high profile? He's proven that to be the correct choice. That faith in him was justified. One of the things also that have impressed me about Jeffrey was his community service with Point Lookout Project, with Human Relations Club, and many other things that he has done to give back. I can tell you the Parole Project stands here ready and able to assist Jeffrey after 30 years of incarceration. Our program is designed exactly for people like Jeffrey. We are also prepared to offer Jeffrey long-term support if this board would determine that going back to the area where the offense was committed is unsuitable. So we're here to give him our complete support, and we ask this board to consider his outstanding record, his remorse, and the fact that, as you mentioned earlier, Ms. Ledoux, evidence-based Jeffrey presents no threat to public safety. So we'd ask this board to grant us parole today.
We do have some individuals who are would like to speak in opposition to his release. We do have the victim's fiance, Karen Spalding, and victim friend, Susan Keenan.
My name is Karen Spalding. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I urge the board to consider the gravity of Mr. Hilburn's crimes. Many, including members of Mr. Hilburn's own family, were unaware of the full extent of his criminal behavior, both documented and undisclosed. Unfortunately, we were not given the chance to oppose his pardon due to lack of awareness. My family, Mark's family, and I have suffered immensely due to Mr. Hilburn's actions. The murder was the most heinous. However, there were numerous other crimes, additional charges, which included forgery, stalking, and multiple thefts to include firearms, were not pursued by the district attorney's office under the belief that Mr. Hilburn would serve life without parole. It was also revealed to us that before his latest crimes, Mr. Hilburn was already classified as a career criminal by the authorities and had almost taken another life in another incident out of state. His history indicates a pattern of utter disregard and lack of empathy for others and his victims. Mr. Hilburn has devastated our families. I believe Mark's parents passed away due to the stress and loss inflicted by his actions, leaving Mark's sister not only without her brother, but without her parents. My life was systematically destroyed. Not only did I lose Mark, but I was also forced to file bankruptcy due to Mr. Hilburn's fraudulent activities, such as forging my name to my credit cards. After reaching the lowest point, I had to rebuild my life from scratch, eventually dedicating myself to a career in federal law enforcement, focusing on counterterrorism, while still to this day mourning Mark's loss. Through my years in law enforcement, I gained incredible insight on criminal behavior, and Mr. Hilburn exhibited a consistent pattern of deceit, frequently changed his story, shifted blames to others, and even threatened my family after his arrest. While incarcerated before the trial, he also went as far as to send someone he had been in jail with to my home. During the trial, he showed no remorse for taking an innocent life. His actions Instead, he manipulated others, including his own family, to serve his own interests. His actions included stalking us and crafting a suicide note.
Can you, I hate to ask you, can you wrap up? We have so much information and we appreciate your comments, but.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that he's a model prisoner, but I don't feel, from what I know, that this expression of remorse is sincere. And I firmly believe that Mr. Hilburn remains a significant threat to society. And I fear his release would endanger us, and therefore I am pleading with the board to please deny his parole. And I thank you once again for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Did we have Miss Susan Keenan? Was she able to join us? Oh, that was her? Okay.
She's trying to get on here.
Oh, okay, you're trying to get on? Yes, I see you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, alrighty. My name is Susan Keenan. I am Karen's aunt. To begin, I want to thank y'all for allowing me to be on the board today and speak to y'all opposing Mr. Hilburn's release. This is very new to us. We weren't brought into this till this year. Of course, we weren't expecting a pardon or parole or anything with him having 99 years and 1 day. I have a little insight, which y'all have my impact statement. And, I worked with Mr. Hilburn for a brief time as a second part-time job to help a friend out. And I live with my niece briefly with my 3-year-old child to help with her bills and, of course, my bills at the time. So I have a lot that is in my impact statement that you can review and see and stuff like that. So I'm no stranger to this situation. I feel like Mr. Hilburn is in a controlled environment at Angola prison. I feel like that if he's released, he would not, be in a controlled environment and revert back to manipulating and revenge on our family. Mr. Hilburn, with the 99 years, of course, and the rap sheet that he has and stuff like that, I feel like he hasn't done enough time. I just don't feel safe. I'm, close in the area of his family and, of course, my family, and, separated into 3 parishes and stuff like that. I just don't feel like this is a good time for him to be taken out. I feel like he's doing good for y'all at Angola, but I just don't feel like we are ready. And I don't know if the public would be ready. I just want to oppose the pardon at this time. I know y'all want to keep this brief and short, and I thank you again for allowing me to speak.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate that. Warden, I'd like to hear from you if you don't mind. You've known Mr. Hilbert, I'm sure, for a while now.
Yes, ma'am. I've known him a very long time. He's been, like I say, he's been a model prisoner, no problems at all. His last write-up was 24 years ago for a simple flight. He's been no problem here for us. He's at the Angle Light. We use him for all kinds of different stories and things that we won't produce.
Thank you for.
He's been no problem.
Mr. Tillis.
Good morning, Mr. Hillman. How are you?
All right, sir, how are you?
Good. I see that you've done well since you've been incarcerated. During the crime, were you on drugs or using drugs?
No, sir. The only drugs I've taken in my life really are prescription medications.
Okay. I went through the report, but just tell me again, what really happened?
I met Mark Jones because he had asked to meet me. I was supposed to repair a truck for Karen Spalding. When we met, we had a discussion, and he told me several things that he felt that I was in crossing borders between him and Karen. Karen and I had been dating before Mark and Karen were dating, and he felt like that I was in, for lack of a better term, his territory. When the weapon was produced, and based on several things that were said, although I didn't bring a weapon with me, I lost my temper. Mark Jones is dead because I lost my temper. He's not dead because I set out to harm him. He's dead because I lost my temper. His death is my fault. I can't phrase it any other way where it makes it look like somebody else. It's my fault because I lost my temper.
What happened to the written suicide note?
From my understanding of the evidence and all, it was found with him. I did not write that letter. I took credit for it at first because I thought I was protecting Karen Spalding. I never read the letter. I didn't get to read it until after I was arrested. I don't know how the letter got in his hands, but I know that I did not write it.
Why did you lock the car when you left?
I don't remember locking the car. I mean, if I did, it was unintentional. I don't remember locking the car.
Okay, I have questions.
Mr. Knotson?
All right, Jeffrey, yeah, I have some questions. I know I've read, I supported you in your pardon hearing. I've worked with you over the years, and so I know you, and I know you well. I do notice that the first thing that struck me, and we got some written information from Karen, Ms. Spalding, and Ms. Keenan in the record, much of which they repeated today. But what I noticed was only yesterday did we get your acceptance to the parole project. Why was that so late?
My initial intent was to go home because I have jobs and a housing set up and everything there. But it was suggested that the parole project would be a better fit for me at this time. But basically because I viewed the parole project based on conversations with Mr. Hunley and Mr. Myers as a place for guys who've been locked up and had no family or finances. And I felt I had that. But it was emphasized to me that it would be a good fit for me because I have been locked up for almost 34 years now. And regardless of my experience prior to incarceration, I have been at Angola for 34 years, and there's a lot of things that I don't know about society, and they could help me pick that up.
I agree. And I'm glad to hear you say those things. Because I agree. You've been 34 years, you've had a good drop, so to speak, in prison, but there is a lot to learn, and I think that they do good work. So I don't have any other questions.
Mr. Hilburn, I'd like to explore something that's in the record that caused me a lot of concern. And it was alluded to today by your sister that there's been some communication prior to the victim's mother passing of communication between you and she.
Yes, ma'am. She acquired my address from my sister when they met at Walmart, and she contacted me initially. The law prohibits us from contacting them. And when I replied, I made sure I asked. But the initial contact came from her because she wanted to express her forgiveness for me. And her initial letter expressed that she experienced that feeling that she should forgive me through her church activities. And through the several letters we exchanged, she always emphasized that to me, ma'am.
Is it prohibited for you to respond to her letters?
No, ma'am, because at the time an assistant warden contacted me after the second letter and discussed it with me. And when she understood that Miss Jones, because she actually spoke to her to my knowledge, when she understood that she contacted me, she said since she initiated contact and she wants to communicate with you, then they would allow
That concerned me. Mr. Kilburn, the record states that you wrote the suicide note. And so that what you're stating today is in direct conflict with that information contained in our file.
Yes, ma'am. When I was arrested and they told me about the letter, once again, I thought I was protecting somebody. What I was doing was making my situation worse and compounding my own problems. I said during my clemency hearing, as I said today, I did not write the letter. I don't know how he got the letter. but I assumed blame for things that I thought would protect somebody else.
How old were you when this murder took place?
24, ma'am,
How old are you today?
58.
I would, Mr. Tillis, are you here today?
Yes, I am. I'm really pleased to see that you're making changes while you're there, but because of strong opposition from law enforcement, my vote today is going to be to deny.
Ms. Renata?
All right, Jeffrey, as Mr. Tillis stated, there is strong law enforcement opposition, very strong opposition from the DA's office. And we've heard from Ms. Spalding and Ms. Keenan today. I supported you at your pardon hearing. That was in 2020. And you had a good record then. I acknowledged your work at Point Lookout, and I support you today. My vote would be to grant you to the parole project transition plan, at least for the full year, and ask that you have as part of that transition training, there would be some in-depth focus on financial literacy and personal cash management, and that you be restricted rather from travel to Ouachita and Richland Parish. That's my vote.
Mr. Hilburn, I'm kind of still concerned over this letter issue. I'm looking at deception. Okay, that's what I'm looking at. Was there a spirit of deception also involved with your anger and then the letter writing and things like that just give me such pause. I'm looking at it, and right now I'm not comfortable with supporting your request for parole. So my vote is to deny. We wish you well. You're a young man, relatively speaking. Thank you. That concludes our business with Mr. Hilburn.